Hey y'all, it's Digital Elvis here. This is to everyone that watches Chris's content here at DualPed or at Celebrity Recreations, whether you're a subscriber or not. I wanted to take a moment to address some of the feedback in the comments section about the cussing he received on some of his videos, and especially regarding the video from last night on President Trump's attempted assassination. He used Joe Pesci for that one, discussing the unfortunate incident involving President Donald Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania. As many of you know, when he portrays Joe Pesci or Robert De Niro, especially in their iconic roles from Goodfellas or Casino, he stays true to their characters, which often includes very strong language. He understands that the cussing in this particular video was excessive and may have offended some of you. However, considering the events that took place, he felt it was warranted. Nonetheless, he sincerely apologizes. It's never his intention to make anyone uncomfortable or upset. I want to emphasize that cussing is limited to videos where he portrays these specific characters. In all other recreations, he avoids using such language, like the one you're about to watch. If you prefer content without cussing, I recommend steering clear of his Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro videos, as these characters' personas are deeply tied to their language and attitude. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. He does value all of your feedback and is committed to making content that you enjoy. If you have any further comments or concerns, please feel free to reach out. Now enjoy the King of Rock and Roll presenting the second round of Trump's accomplishments. And by the way, I'm happy to announce that former President Trump is doing just fine and will be back up and campaigning in no time again. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your favorite rock and roll king, Elvis Presley, back from heaven to do the honors for a good friend of mine, Donald J. Trump. Now, I know y'all might be wondering why old Elvis is here, but I couldn't resist when I heard about all the amazing things this man has done for our great country. We will cover them all in a multi-part series, and this is part 2, but if you care to read them all in advance and can't wait for the other parts to get released, Chris Dallas from DualPed and Celebrity Recreations has them all written down and is pinned at the top of his Facebook page, so go there and be mesmerized. But if you don't have Facebook like some people have commented in the comments section, it's okay. Just send Chris an email at celebrityrecreations@gmail.com, and he will send you a link to his Google Drive, and you can read them there. But the link to his Facebook page will be in this video's description and also pinned in the comments section at the top. One question that keeps getting asked in the comments section to Chris is, why isn't your channel monetized? Well, here's the answer, folks. Like myself, Chris is a Republican and a huge Trump supporter. He tried monetizing his channel, but YouTube, who is owned by Google, responded like this, and I kid you not. They said that his content is harmful. WTF? You'll see the screenshot right here on your monitor so the naysayers don't think we're lying. How is it harmful? That was Chris's response. They couldn't really give him a straight answer, so they said they would put in an appeal for him, and they did, but the appeal came back with the same result. And they still consider his channel harmful. That is a load of Elvis Presley's crap if you ask me. Let's face it, folks, the real reason, in our opinion, is that he is a right-winger, a Republican, and a huge Trump supporter. And we know Google is a left-wing media, which also hates Trump and censors what they don't like if it's not to their advantage. So there is your answer, everyone. That's frickin' bullcrap on top of Elvis's crap, I tell you. But before we get into all that, you know what, folks? I'm back and I'm hungry. And you all know I love me some peanut butter and banana sandwiches, the king's favorite snack. But let me tell you a little story. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, I was staying in New York City. And who do you think let me crash at his place? That's right, none other than Donald J. Trump himself. Now, we were much younger then. I was 11 years older than him, but I remember this like it was yesterday. Trump let me stay at one of his fancy hotels on the house. He knew I could afford his fancy hotel, but didn't charge me a cent. What a guy. And you know what else? He even made me a peanut butter and banana sandwich, too. That's right, folks, the king of rock and roll and the king of real estate sharing a meal together. We even went out for dinner later that night and had a grand old time, and it didn't take us long to become good friends either. It's too bad I had to depart this life so early. On August 16th, 1977 was that fateful day, but before I left, we got together quite often, played some golf, had many more dinners, and dated women at the same time, too. We were studs back then, what can I say? The women were all over us at all times of the day. We had no choice but to date them all. I know it's a hard job, but someone had to do it. And Donald and I were assigned to that task by none other than God himself. Yes, I know that for a fact because all the women kept yelling at us with the words, "Oh my God," whenever we were taking care of business, if y'all know what I mean. We weren't trying to be sexy, it was just our way of expressing ourselves when we moved around. And now let's take it back a few years for the next couple of minutes where I was much younger. Now, to all the naysayers out there, especially Bobby De Niro, don't criticize what you don't understand, son. You never walked in that man's shoes. So listen up and listen good. Y'all don't know squat about what Trump has done for this country. That's why you keep bashing him. But let me tell you, nobody, and I mean nobody, has done what Trump did for the USA in those 4 years as president. So you better pay attention, because we're about to dive into the next set of his accomplishments. So if you missed the first part, go back and watch it, because it covers a whole lot of ground. But right now, it's time for part 2. So sit back, relax, and let the king take you through the next round of Trump's amazing accomplishments. Here we go, folks. He signed an executive order on modernizing the regulatory framework for agricultural biotechnology products, which is bringing innovative new technologies to market in American farming and agriculture. Strengthened America's rural economy by investing over $1.3 billion through the Agriculture Department's Reconnect program to bring high-speed broadband infrastructure to rural America. Achieved a record-setting economic comeback by rejecting blanket lockdowns. An October 2020 Gallup survey found 56% of Americans said they were better off during a pandemic than 4 years prior. During the third quarter of 2020, the economy grew at a rate of 33.1%, the most rapid GDP growth ever recorded. Since coronavirus lockdowns ended, the economy has added back over 12 million jobs, more than half the jobs lost. Jobs have been recovered 23 times faster than the previous administration's recovery. Unemployment fell to 6.7% in December, from a pandemic peak of 14.7% in April, beating expectations of well over 10% unemployment through the end of 2020. Under the previous administration, it took 49 months for the unemployment rate to fall from 10% to under 7% compared to just 3 months for the Trump administration. Since April, the Hispanic unemployment rate has fallen by 9.6%, Asian American unemployment by 8.6%, and Black American unemployment by 6.8%. 80% of small businesses are now open, up from just 53% in April. Small business confidence hit a new high. Home builder confidence reached an all-time high, and home sales hit their highest reading since December 2006. Manufacturing optimism nearly doubled. Household net worth rose $7.4 trillion in second quarter 2020 to $112 trillion, an all-time high. Home prices hit an all-time record high. And now for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to continue with Trump's accomplishments, but I will also be dancing to a tune in my head by none other than me, of course. So I hope you all don't mind. The United States rejected crippling lockdowns that crush the economy and inflict countless public health harms, and instead safely reopened its economy. Business confidence is higher in America than in any other G7 or European Union country. Stabilized America's financial markets with the establishment of a number of Treasury Department-supported facilities at the Federal Reserve. Tax relief for the middle class. Passed $3.2 trillion in historic tax relief and reformed the tax code. Signed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the largest tax reform package in history. More than 6 million American workers received wage increases, bonuses, and increased benefits thanks to the tax cuts. A typical family of 4 earning $75,000 received an income tax cut of more than $2,000, slashing their tax bill in half. Doubled the standard deduction, making the first $24,000 earned by a married couple completely tax-free. Doubled the child tax credit. Virtually eliminated the unfair estate tax or death tax. Cut the business tax rate from 35%, the highest in the developed world, all the way down to 21%. Small businesses can now deduct 20% of their business income. Businesses can now deduct 100% of the cost of their capital investments in the year the investment is made. Since the passage of tax cuts, the share of total wealth held by the bottom half of households has increased, while the share held by the top 1% has decreased. Over 400 companies have announced bonuses, wage increases, new hires, or new investments in the United States. Over $1.5 trillion was repatriated into the United States from overseas. Lower investment costs and higher capital returns led to faster growth in the middle class, real wages, and international competitiveness. Jobs and investments are pouring into opportunity zones. Created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones where capital gains on long-term investments are taxed at zero. Opportunity zone designations have increased property values within them by 1.1%, creating an estimated $11 billion in wealth for the nearly half of opportunity zone residents who own their own home. Opportunity zones have attracted $75 billion in funds and driven $52 billion of new investment in economically distressed communities, creating at least 500,000 new jobs. Approximately 1 million Americans will be lifted from poverty as a result of these new investments. Private equity investments into businesses in opportunity zones were nearly 30% higher than investments into businesses in similar areas that were not designated opportunity zones. Massive deregulation ended the regulatory assault on American businesses and workers. Instead of 2 forminus 1, we eliminated 8 old regulations for every 1 new regulation adopted, provided the average American household an extra $3,100 every year. Reduce the direct cost of regulatory compliance by $50 billion and will reduce costs by an additional $50 billion in FY 2020 alone. Remove nearly 25,000 pages from the Federal Register, more than any other president. The previous administration added over 16,000 pages, established the governor's initiative on regulatory innovation to reduce outdated regulations at the state, local, and tribal levels. Signed an executive order to make it easier for businesses to offer retirement plans. Signed 2 executive orders to increase transparency in federal agencies and protect Americans and their small businesses from administrative abuse. Modernized the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, for the first time in over 40 years. Reduced approval times for major infrastructure projects from 10 or more years down to 2 years or less. Helped community banks by signing legislation that rolled back costly provisions of Dodd-Frank. So that's it for now in part 2, folks, and please stay tuned for part 3 and more parts to follow coming soon. Now, please do me a favor, y'all, and subscribe to Chris's channel. He would greatly appreciate that. And don't forget, none of Chris's social media channels are monetized, so he is not making any money from this. All he wants is your support by subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting. There are 4 other videos that he's uploaded and started to go viral, so if you haven't watched them, please do. We'll put the links in the description and also pin them in a comment at the top of the comment section, along with the rest of Trump's accomplishments. Thank you all again for watching. Elvis has left the building.